Okay, well, let's get started. So, have you ever gotten really motivated or excited about changing habits or starting new ones so you could get healthier or happier or feel better about yourself? And then, poof, within a few days or weeks, you forget about it, fizzle out, find excuses, and go back to your own ways? Well, it's happened to me more than once. Has it ever happened to you? It's really frustrating. And a lot of times it's frustrating because we know what we have to do. We even know how to do it, and still we don't. Sound familiar? Well, don't feel bad. You're not alone. And today, hopefully, we're going to start changing that. So in this training, I'm going to debunk 5 common beliefs around making and breaking habits and help you get clear on why and how habits control you for better or worse. I'll share my favorite super simple habit hack for making easy changes that make a big difference. They really do add up. And I'll teach you 2 secrets to making new habits stick. When you remember to do this, your chances of success go way up. So here's the thing about habits. Let's lay a little groundwork first. Habits are just that. They are the thoughts and behaviors you've had for so long, some from childhood, that you just do them by default over and over again with very little, if any, conscious thought. You have habits for everything: eating, sleeping, talking, working, buying things, everything you do on a regular basis. Now, this is good. The brain evolved to do this for a reason. So you can do repeated behaviors without having to relearn them every time or think about them too much. You learn how to do things like walk and read and drive your car, and you don't have to think about every step every time. Imagine if you had to do this before you drove. You have to tell yourself, walk up to the car, open the door, get in, sit down, put in the key. Nope, do it this way. Put your hand on the steering wheel. Press down with your right foot on the brake. Now shift. Oi, right? You'd never get anywhere. No, you just do that entire habit loop automatically. And that's thanks to the well-established neural net highway in your brain called driving. You may even be on a straight stretch of road and get so lost in a daydream that you forget you're even in the car. You ever done that? I have. I don't recommend it. Yet you still get from point A to B without going off the road. That's because your subconscious mind, the part of your brain that runs the show 95% of the time, knows how to drive. And then when your conscious mind needs to get attention, it snaps back. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But this awesome ability we have to do things automatically, including how to think, can also be a problem when it's linked to habits that are bad for us, or habits that keep us stuck. The same patterns and routines we don't want anymore, but feel powerless or uninspired to change. But there are certain habits you can get away with, especially when you're young, like eating that highly processed, artificially flavored, dyed sugar bomb cereal every morning for breakfast. Makes you cringe when I see my grandkids eating it. But anyway, maybe some habits were even useful to you then, like stopping yourself from talking back to your parents so you wouldn't get yelled at and sent to your room. But now that you're older and wiser, you realize that some of those habits don't serve you very well anymore. You know you need to make better choices so you stay healthy and you have energy and enthusiasm for life, and you lower your risk of getting lifestyle diseases like type 2 diabetes, obesity, and some types of cancer. A lot of these health problems, a lot of these habits are what causes us to get sick like that. But change, even when you want it, even when you know it's good for you, isn't as easy as you hoped, because those habits are set to automatic whenever they're cued or triggered. And when you say no to them, it creates unease or downright discomfort in your mind and body. So before you know it, you hear that little whisper in your brain that says, oh, just have one. And then the answer is, okay, right? On top of that, we have limiting beliefs and excuses that contribute to keeping us stuck. So let's take a look at some of these. Number one, and these are in no particular order, okay? Breaking an old habit or keeping a new one takes more motivation, more willpower, and more discipline than I have or want to give. It is true that you need motivation, discipline, and willpower to start changing a habit or to get back on track. You do have to want it and be willing to put in some effort, especially at first. But this is only part of the formula. You have to have a plan. You have to have strategies in place to help you be successful in the long run for those tricky habits. Otherwise, when you get stressed, distracted, busy, or bored with the change, your conscious mind, the part of your brain here that controls motivation, discipline, and willpower, puts its attention someplace else on other priorities. The trigger comes, your subconscious mind takes over, and you're back in the habit loop, repeating those familiar thoughts and behaviors. By the way, you are not sabotaging yourself when you slip up. Your subconscious mind is simply running a program just like a computer does. It is not trying to hurt you. Okay? Just the opposite, as a matter of fact. It's just doing what it does. To change that, you have to write a new program, so to speak. Okay? Belief number 2. It takes a set amount of time to form a habit. You've probably heard that it takes 21 days or 33 days or 66 days to form a habit, depending on who you listen to. And don't miss a day or you have to start over. While it is true that it takes time for new thought patterns or behaviors to become a habit, these neural networks have to get established. But it's also true that you can drop, add, or change a habit just like that. Or it could take several months. It takes as long as it takes. If you miss a day, especially once you have some momentum going, you can pick up and keep going. You don't have to start over. Of course, it's a problem if you make a habit of missing days, because then you don't wire your brain for the new behavior and it can't go on autopilot. So you do want to have some consistency. Limiting belief number 3. Habits are what I do, not what I think. Well, the truth is that habits are what you do and what you think about on a regular basis. Your brain is your habit-making, habit-keeping computer. It all happens up here. Of the 12 to 60,000 thoughts you have every single day, around 85% of them are habits. They're habitual. That means your subconscious beliefs or programs control most of your thoughts. You think the same kinds of thoughts every day, throughout the day, often without even being aware of them. These thoughts make your body and your conscious mind respond in a certain way, unless you choose to override it. Otherwise, you repeat the same patterns and actions over and over again. Okay, what was that movie? Was that Groundhog Day? Felt like he was living the same day over and over again. Okay, now this is great if you have a lot of positive thoughts that make you happy and keep you inspired. But that's usually not the case. The problem is that our brains have a natural bent for the negative and the familiar. There's nothing wrong with you. This is natural. Okay? That's by evolutionary design for survival. But it doesn't work so well if you want to have better feeling thoughts or drop old habits or get out there and try new things and you have fears and doubts holding you back. This is where it takes commitment and specific strategies, including having the right kind of support to make changes and to stick with them. Otherwise, these habits can cost you your health and your happiness. They can keep you from enjoying life and doing all those good things you want to do, all those things that are really important to you. Okay, limiting belief number 4. I am too old to change. I'd like to have a penny for every time I heard one of my relatives say this. Okay, so fess up. Anybody ever say that? This is not true. Now, experts used to think that brain development was fixed sometime before age 30, but now they know you can learn and change at any age. Of course, the problem is, by the time you're in your middle years and beyond, your habits are well ingrained. We've had a lot of years to practice. When people say they are set in their ways, they're right. But they usually say that as an excuse for not wanting to change or not being willing to change, rather than admitting it is possible, but they just don't want to or they're afraid to. Okay. It just seems easier to stay the same and keep doing the same things you're comfortable with, even if who you're being or what you're doing isn't in anybody's interest, including your own. Okay. As a matter of fact, I remember reading something that was actually quite sad. It said a lot of people refuse to make a change, even when there is no doubt that the habits they have are putting their health or their lives at serious risk. You know, sometimes it takes a real epiphany for people to wake up. I think of my aunt. You know, she finally quit smoking when she was in her early 70s. For years when I was a kid, I'd beg her to stop. And she'd say, "Oh, honey, I've been smoking since I was 13. I can't stop." But one day, she spit blood into the toilet, and she got so scared that she fell to her knees and told God she'd stop right then if he took that from her. And she kept her word. She never smoked another cigarette again, and she even became one of those people who couldn't stand the smell of smoke and yelled at her sister for smoking. But for some people, not even an epiphany moment like that, or being hooked to an oxygen machine, is reason enough to break a habit. Belief number 5. I can do it myself. You can. And in some cases you probably have, like my aunt. Or if you use the really easy habit hack I'm going to share with you in a couple of minutes. But if it was so easy to do it myself often enough, then all our bad habits, our lifestyle habits, our thinking habits would be a thing of the past, and we wouldn't even need to be having this conversation. A lot of times this I can do it myself attitude stems from the fear of really having to change when you don't want to, or fearing that you'll fail and let yourself down or other people down. So it's just best not to say anything, not to tell anybody and figure, I can do it myself. It's a way of shutting other people out. You don't want their encouragement, you don't want their helpful suggestions, and you don't want to be held accountable. You know, I get it. Nobody, including me, wants to feel like they're being watched or judged or controlled, and we shouldn't be. I mean, we're grown-ups. The problem with this I can do it myself mindset is that you make it a lot harder on yourself to succeed. And you increase your odds of falling back into your old habits. You cheat yourself out of having the tools and the strategies and the support system that can really help you. You know, we all need support, and we need the right kind of support. It's how we're wired. That's why there's groups like Weight Watchers and AA. You know, you can go to your doctor for help, or a therapist, or a coach, so you have a better chance of being successful. So now that you know what limiting beliefs and excuses keep you from creating the healthy habits you want, are you ready for my super simple habit hack that makes changing some habits a breeze? Say yes in the comments if you're ready. Hey, Jerry. All right, well, I'm not going to kid you that you can wave a magic wand. Where's my wand? Here it is. And change any habit you want with this method. But for some habits, it's almost as easy. Here's the hack. Make substitutions. Yeah, now hear me out. It is that simple. You keep the same behavior, but you upgrade the substance or the product attached to the behavior. Here's an example of making those upgrade swaps. So if you drink a morning cup of tea or coffee or two, you can relate to this one. Okay. So first, you make the switch to organic. So if you're drinking regular coffee, regular tea, switch to organic. Okay, because there are so many chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, in regular, especially coffee, I think. And you just don't need to be putting more chemicals in your body. We all have way too many as it is. And if you buy fair trade coffee or tea, so much the better, because then you're also doing some good by supporting sustainability and fair pay for workers. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, still sticking with our example of coffee and tea, if you're in the habit of adding sugar or aspartame to your drinks, those chemical artificial sweeteners, use a few drops of stevia instead. I really like my liquid stevia, the vanilla flavored and the, vanilla flavored and the chocolate flavored. Okay, they taste really good. It's not like when stevia first came out. It's got that yucky, bitter aftertaste. Tastes really good now. And it does not raise your blood sugar or insulin levels like sugar or the fake sweeteners do. All right, and then the third part of just this one simple example is instead of throwing your grounds in the trash, put them around your plants or throw them on the grass. Right? Coffee grounds are a great natural fertilizer. Earthworms love them, and slugs avoid them. And you're putting them to good use instead of making more trash. I guess there's a lot of other things you can do with coffee grounds too, some quite interesting. Anyway, so together these three easy swaps add up to a big win for you. It's a win for organic farmers and a win for the earth too. And that's something to really feel good about. So, and you can do this for so many different things. Just look at what you eat, everything around and say, how can I make a quick, easy little swap that once I do it, it's done. I don't have to think about it anymore. You might have a little resistance come up when you make the purchase, especially if what you're buying costs a little bit more. But what I love about this is that it is once and done. And you haven't given up anything except maybe a few extra cents per serving. Well worth it for your health. Okay. And this could be fun. If you have kids or grandkids, get them involved. See how many swaps or upgrades you can make as a family. Think greener, non-toxic, and healthier. And you're off to a great start. And don't worry about being perfect. Just make an easy upgrade you're happy with. It all adds up and makes a big difference. So who is going to commit to making at least one healthy swap this week? Not try, do. All right, and I'm going to share some more swaps during the week in separate posts, because if I give you too many now, it's just going to be overwhelming. So I wanted to give you the idea of how that works, and you can share yours too as we go along. Jerry said, okay. Okay, just don't ask what. Okay, I won't. Oh, it's funny. All right, so before we wrap up, I promised you 2 secrets to making new habits stick. I've already given you one. Make it as easy as possible, like in the hack that you just got. Super simple, no brainer. Just make it easy. Some things that are easy do take some strategizing, but not these really. Okay, another biggie is to make your brain feel successful. So give yourself a fist pump or a cheer or a gold star, some kind of positive reinforcement every single time that you do the new habit until you don't have to think about it anymore. So put the stevia in your tea or coffee. Yay for me, right? And before you know it, your brain will be on board and it'll be easy. Very simple but powerful technique. Okay, so to recap, I shared a simple habit hack you can easily do yourself or with your family or grandkids. Remember, make it fun. Phase in those healthy swaps. You only need a tiny little bit of willpower or motivation to make it happen. I really encourage you to do this because it will make a positive impact on your self-care and your quality of life as you start adding up more and more of them. And it'll build your confidence and open you to possibilities for creating more affirming habits in all areas of self-care and going for your dreams. Okay. I shared 2 secrets of success. Make it easy and lay on the praise. You got to feel successful. And 5 limiting beliefs that block your success. Takes too much discipline, time, or motivation. Takes a certain amount of time to make a change. Habits are what I do, not what I think. And the next 2, which could be beliefs or excuses. I'm too old to change. And remember what the last one is? I can do it myself. Not a good idea for those stubborn, unhealthy habits that you need or want to change but aren't budging. Okay, most of us avoid these because it feels overwhelming and we have to overcome mindset stuff, all that negativity and fear, and parts of ourselves might be, I don't want to say at war with yourself, but maybe having a disagreement. You know, one part says I want to change and the other part says no, I don't. I want to keep that behavior. So the good news is with the right kinds of strategies, resources, and support, it doesn't have to be hard. It can feel really good, exciting, hopeful. You can get your mind on your side and you can start bringing down that wall of resistance with its fears and doubts and reasons why you can't do it. I can help you with that. That's what I do. And if it's something you want, I'd love to talk with you. Just private message me and we'll make it happen. Okay? One more thing. I would love for you to share a takeaway before you go. What's one thing you learned? What surprised you? Just put it in the comments. Okay, well, while you're doing that, I will encourage you again to go do this stuff. Let me know how it goes. I can't wait to hear. And thanks for coming.